board. And if everyone can mute yourself, that would be terrific. And Lisa, where are you?
I'm right here. Can you see me?
I can see you now. Okay. So I'm going to turn this over to you. You have half an hour. Teach us what you know.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much, Tony, for sharing your platform. All of the ladies have been killing it. They are rocking, and I'm learning so much over the last 3 days. And I just wanted to let the ladies know that I am truly, truly impressed with, I mean, we're just powerful, right? It's just undeniable. So my name is Lisa Geis. I am a self-relationship expert and a Be Great Now coach. I help women lead, leap, leverage, and most of all, monetize their greatness. And I look at what I do as more of a calling. I'm just going to put that on out there. I look at it as more of a calling because I fought against it for so long. So for so long, I just said to myself, I don't want to do that. I'm not ready to do that. Oh no, that's going to require too much. And, I just played that in my mind. And that's what actually took me on the journey at a faster pace because I was so adamant about not walking in this calling. But once I decided to go ahead and release, as Ariel said, just release. Once I decided to go ahead and release, then I truly found happiness. And so that became part of my mission to help other women do the same thing, help them to debunk all of those things that the world has told them that they can't be, all the while really finding what is their true desire and what will truly make them happy. And one of the things that definitely was the thread that most of us shared was, I am dreaming, and how do I bring that dream to fruition? And once I've discovered that dream, what do I do now? So that kind of had me thinking between my clients and then just women in my industry or outside of my industry that I would talk to, again, we're having these beautiful conversations and this subject just keeps coming up. I would hear, I want to make an impact. I want to be of influence. I need more income, right? So I started to think, I agree with you. I need all those things too. So I started to actually look at other people who had been in industries for a while and talk to them and just really find out what exactly does it take if you're a woman who is ready to be powerful in who you are. How do you actually step out and show up? How do you step out and show up? So what I did was I created what I call the I system. It's an I system. And the reason why I named it the I system is because I actually show them how to go from impact to influence to income. And in addition to that, I was always hearing, I want to make an impact. I want to be of influence. I need more income, right? So it's the I system. So that's what I want to share with you today, because I believe that, whether you're walking in your calling or whether you're trying to figure that thing out, it all still comes back to the same thing. How can I make the most of what it is I'm doing? So it's a system that I've created. However, I'm going to share some of the steps with you, but this system is personalized. So although I'm sharing the steps with you, part of what I do is help women walk through how to personalize those steps for themselves. We strategize on that. We get into that mud and we figure things out. So let's just get started on the impact side of things. So the first thing I want to share with you with the impact is that you have to be dedicated to your purpose, not a purpose. Let me say that again. You must be dedicated to your purpose, not a purpose. As I stated earlier, all of the women who have come together for this Women of Influence virtual summit, I would like to say, we've been given some great ideas, some great tips, some great strategies, but it's not for me to say, okay, now I'm going to do what Ariel's doing, or I'm going to do what Susie's doing, or I'm going to do, what Michelle is doing, right? It's for me to really find out what my purpose is, because I could get caught up in what I call that shiny object syndrome. And as we're all doing amazing things, get caught up in that and say, wow, let me jump over here and try to do this. Well, I have worked with and talked to many women who have done exactly that. And ultimately what ends up happening is it's, like, she has a good cause. I love her mission. I jumped over there. I wanted to help. And then a year later, 2 years later, it's like, oh my gosh, that wasn't what I was supposed to be doing at all. And here I am. I've just spent a year or two walking someone else's path and purpose and neglecting my own. So the very first thing you must do is to become dedicated to your purpose. And a lot of times that requires for you to go on and we got to get through what I call the muck. We got to weed through the muck, because I don't know about you, but I didn't just wake up one day and say, oh, thank you, I know exactly what my purpose is. I didn't do that. I had to kind of say, okay, what are the signs? What signs have I been given that's showing me what my purpose is? What are people always coming to me? Why are they drawn to me? What questions are they always asking me, or am I the go-to person for? So there's little things that we can take a look at to figure out what your true purpose is, so that you're not walking anyone else's, right? We want you to show up as you. Absolutely. So the second thing is you have to be open to growth. And I will admit, I'm raising my hand high, I kind of struggled with this in the beginning. And the reason that I struggled with it was because, not that I was opposed to growing as an individual or anything like that, but I just became completely overwhelmed. I became completely overwhelmed. Think about all information that's out there. I was so overwhelmed with information that what ended up happening was I was constantly consuming information to the point where I was. So I realized you're open to growth. You're open to, you're, but you're not to growth. If you're consuming the information, there's no way you could possibly grow, because the information is going to take you in different places. It's going to pull you this way and pull you that way. I mean, I was like a crazy person, just trying to devour everything I could get my hands on. And I realized that actually kept me stuck. It actually kept me stuck. But when I started to really focus, I don't just want information. I truly want to grow as a person first. And then I want to grow as a coach. I want to grow so that I can continue to feed, so that I can continue to pour into others and into the lives of others. Once I realized the difference, then I had my strategy. I was able to figure out the best way for me to attack my personal growth, my business growth. And ever since then, it's just opened up a whole new world for me. And that's exactly what I share with my clients, or with other women that I talk to. I am a habitual sharer. And so I sometimes I share when I shouldn't share, and not things that I should not share, but I share. If I learn something, I'm calling you on the phone. Message, I'm information, because I want you to learn it too. I want you to receive it as well. So just be open to growth. And the third thing that I want to share under the umbrella of impact is I want to share with you that you have to learn to love being vulnerable. You have to learn to love being vulnerable. Now, for some people, being vulnerable is just like no big deal. For people like me, oh my gosh, it was like, I felt like I was going to the dentist every single time I had to open myself up. And I know, and I realized that was stemmed from some things that I hadn't dealt with in my childhood. So Ariel, I got right on that. And started to deal with those things so that I would be okay with being vulnerable. But even after that, it was still just this real uncomfortable feeling. And it wasn't until I was speaking in front of a large group of women, and this one lady stood up. It was during my question and answer segment. And this lady stood up and she said, you know, she shared with the crowd and she started to cry. I was instantly, because of my background, because of what I had gone through in my childhood, I was instantly able to connect with her. And I connected with her on a totally different level. It was almost as if there was no stage, just, you know, her and I just standing there talking as girlfriends amongst each other. And so from the stage, I told her, I let her know, I know exactly how you feel. And I shared part of my story. And then I told her, this is where I've come from. And this is where I am now. You don't have to doubt yourself. You don't have to question yourself, because I am you. And where you see me standing right now, right here today, you will be there as well. And I cannot tell you the freedom, first of all, that came about from me just saying that out loud, getting that out. The crowd, of course, reacted. Everyone was just, you know, in tears, basically. And it was so freeing, and just it was confirmation that you've done the work, you've done the healing, and now it's time for you to walk in your story, girl. Quit playing around, walk in your story, because guess what? Everything that you have gone through, everything that you have been through, all the tears, all the sadness, all of that stuff has prepared you and equipped you for what you're doing right now. So don't you dare hold it back. So that's exactly what I do. We tap into that vulnerable side, that, you know, what is your story? What will actually move you to your next level? Because I can tell you, after that, I had people coming up from the crowd. They were talking to me. They were telling me how much it touched them. Just in hearing that, that was healing in itself. But again, that propelled me to my next level with new speaking engagements, which went into income, right? We'll get to that in a minute. But new speaking engagements, new relationships, because when people can connect to you, when they really feel you, that's when everything opens up. It's like a floodgate that just opens up. So those are the three things I want to share with you in reference to, or under the umbrella of impact. There's a total of 7, but I want to share those 3 with you. So let me just go over them really quickly again. The first one is you have to be dedicated to your purpose. Dedicated to your purpose. Don't jump on anyone else's path, their lane, in the back of their truck. None of that. Stay in your lane, stay on your purpose, okay? The second one is be open to growth. Be open to growth. It's such a great feeling when you can actually feel that you're evolving as a person, that you're evolving, and that evolution as a person is actually building what I like to call, I'm building my empire right now. And part of that empire involves me. I'm a part of that empire, and my growth is a part of that empire. And then the last one is learn to love being vulnerable. People want to see your cracks. People want to see your cracks, flaws and all. They want to know that this isn't some perfect person standing in front of them. Some just has everything together, because guess what? There's somewhere everyone's business, right? So people want to see that. They want to know that or, you know, hire you if they feel like everything is in place. Not everything. Tell me your personal story and let me know that, if nothing else, I can be you someday. If nothing else, I can be you, because I saw your crack and I have that same crack, right? So the second thing is how to influence, how to be an influencer. And this one is, you know, when people think influencer, it's like, how many followers do you have? How many, you know, all of this. for me, being an influencer means that you're someone who has made a decision. First of all, you're someone who has made a decision that you are going to take on and open yourself up to others coming into your world. And in order to do that, again, we have to go back to that laser focus as well. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to make sure you pick a niche. And when I say niche, I know niche is so cliche. And a lot of women run away from niche, but hopefully I'm going to put a little twist on it and shift your perspective when you think niche. So a lot of creative people, I'm a creative person. And so I know for me, I ran from a niche. I was like, I don't want to be a part of a niche. And I would hear the same thing back in return from other creatives. I don't want to be, I have too much going on. I have too many ideas. I don't want to be boxed in, right? Well, what I grew to understand is that a niche right now doesn't mean a niche later. And let me explain to you what I mean when I say that. I believe that we all have seasons. And depending on what season you're in, it's okay for your niche to be about that season. So if your niche right now is social media, for example, then by all means, go hard in social media. Let that be your niche for right now. If you get a download and receive an idea and that idea takes you on another path, it's okay for that to be your niche in that season. Just add that to your empire. So picking a niche is the number one thing. The second thing is you have to be okay with marketing you. Get comfortable with marketing you. And so many women are not comfortable with themselves. It's like, I don't want to talk about myself. I feel like I'm bragging. I don't want to, just different things like that. No, I can guarantee you that there's been a many that women have ended up in the grocery store in the grocery line, and you see something in another woman's basket and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I was thinking about trying that product. Have you tried it before? And that woman turns around and says, yes, oh my gosh, I love it. It does this, it does that. She's marketing the product. We're so quick to market others. We're so quick to market other people. We're quick to market other products, but we're so hesitant. So, come on, let's market you. Let's get you out there. You're the face. People do business, and I know we've all heard this. People do business with people that they know, like, and admire, right? And trust. So that's who you need to be. You have to put yourself out there and market you. And then I want you to, number 3, be authentic. Stay authentic. You don't have to become anybody else. We want to see you show up. We want to know the real you. And in order to do that, you have to put your best foot forward. If you're pretending to be somebody else, then I guarantee you, people will sense that and they'll go do business with someone else. Now let's get to the good stuff, the money, the income, more income, how to go from influencer to more income. The first thing you need to do is connect and collaborate. That's why I love wonderful women together to collaborate on this summit so that we can get our businesses out, but also connect with one another and establish relationships. You have to also, as you're connecting and collaborating, be okay with being of service. Be okay with being of service. The second thing is you want to create a win-win. If you're collaborating, if you're trying to collaborate with someone, you need to already, when you approach them, have it somewhat in your mind of how it could be a win-win for both you and that individual. Because if you're just coming saying, hey, this is what I want you to do for me, 9 times out of 10, people are going to be like, okay, well, how does that benefit me? So you want to make sure you're always approaching anybody that you're doing business with on a win-win situation. And then don't be afraid to launch. I'm guilty. There was a point in my business where I was so afraid to launch. I had 12 products and I was not putting any of them out. They were just sitting in my notebook. And it wasn't until my coach went through, we did an analysis, and he was like, what's all this stuff? I was like, oh, those are my programs. I haven't seen them. Oh, because I haven't launched them. Don't be afraid to launch. You are deserving of putting your ideas out there. You are deserving of helping someone. What you have created will help someone. And that in turn will bring things to you, will bring goodness to you. So don't be afraid to launch. Put it out there. If it doesn't work, oh well, move on to the next thing. Remember, you already had 12 things already in your backpack. So you can just go ahead and launch something else, or maybe tweak something and ask someone, how can this be better? Right? So I just wanted to come and share that with you. And, again, we are so powerful, and all we have to do is show up, and we will impact, influence, and therefore make more income. This is Lisa Geis, and I just want to say, I always close with, until we speak again, always remember to be loyal to your greatness and live your greatness out loud. I want to offer each and every one of you a special offer of actually sitting with me, and well, not sitting with me, we would be doing it virtually like we're doing right now, but coming together and going through the 21 points so that we can strategize to help you impact, influence, and earn more income. You can email me at lgglobalvision@gmail.com. Again, that's lgglobalvision, one word, @gmail.com. Or go to my website, www.lisageis.com, and book an appointment with me.
All right. That was brilliant. Lisa, thank you so much. This is the first time that I've actually seen you in action, and I knew you're good.
Thank you.
But I didn't know how good. And everything that you said really resonated. Most people don't really know my background. I actually got my start as one of the top B2B telemarketers in Chicago, and then here in the Bay Area. And I recently told a story, and this is where the book came from, How to Make Shit Happen. I recently told the story of how I was so depressed. I was making a lot of money, but I was so depressed. And I didn't realize I was depressed until I came here on vacation. It was right after the '89 earthquake. And I remember being right outside my hotel room and on Polk Street, and I started sobbing because I didn't really understand what joy was until that moment. I realized that everything that I was doing was bullshit, didn't want to be doing it, but I didn't know that I could do anything else. I had always wanted to be a writer, didn't know how to get from point A to point B. And that was sort of the impetus to shift where I was to where I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And so many things, what you said, just really, I'm like, yep, know that one. It's really, nothing that you do is ever going to be perfect. And I work with a lot of speakers, work with over 400 speakers a year. And a lot of them will say, well, I got to get my website up. I got to get this together. Well, I got to, and I'll come back to them and I'll say, when's your next event? Oh, well, I haven't launched yet or whatever. And they're waiting. They're waiting for conditions to be optimal before they launch. And so I get it. Everything that you said was just dead on. And I want to commend you. For giving women especially, and you don't really need to hear this from a man, but I'm going to say it anyway, giving women sort of that permission to say, listen, if it doesn't work, so what? Maybe you retweak it, and you relaunch it. It's okay not to, it's okay to fail because that's how we learn. And I so thank you for saying that.
You are so welcome. You are so welcome. I just want to say, I want to just share this as well. Again, when I was stuck in being able to launch, my mentor said to me, and this just, I mean, once this just opened up everything. He said to me, what do you think Apple does? Apple never waits for a perfect product. They put out an imperfect product. And once that product is imperfect and they put it out, they were their customer to tell them what they need to fix. They fix it, and then they charge you more money to purchase the new version of it.
Yep. And we
I was
all
like,
so we all buy into it, and so that's great. So I'm going to open it up. If you have any questions for Lisa or comments that you want to make, please unmute yourself and make them. There is Sarah, who's on camera.
Okay.
Did you? Oh, Francis. Okay.
Francis.
Francis, why don't you go first? Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, I really enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you.
And I so agree with what you said about being vulnerable and telling your stories. In one of my conferences recently, someone said to me, "Oh, you tell such personal stories." Well, actually, the more I tell the story, if they come in my mind, I share it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't filter it. It just comes out. And I find that that brings me, it'll make me closer to the audience. And each time I share and they share, we go to a different level. So I love sharing.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of power in that. And you touch a lot of hearts because people know you're telling the truth. Very important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I see that in you. So great skill, great presentation.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And go ahead, Lisa. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I just said thank you. That was all.
Well,
welcome.
It is so important. You know, I see a lot of speakers who, you know, they're more transactional. Tanya often sort of mentioned this on day one of this event, and you know, they don't really connect with the audience. And I think one of the most important things you can do to be an effective speaker and a coach and a leader is to sort of share your experiences. And going back to what I was saying, okay, 917, I'm muting you. Thank you so much for calling in. One of the things that I recognized after giving my talk, How to Make Shit Happen, and I shared my pain and my experience was that half the room came up to me afterwards and they're like, "Oh my God, I so get it. I get it. I was there. I experienced the same thing." There's nothing wrong with being a little vulnerable, and there's nothing wrong with being yourself. I mean, Tanya often always says, you know, be perfectly imperfect. That's what makes you a really great speaker. And I always, that's the reason why I don't care. You know, I don't really care what anybody thinks about me anymore, because been there, done that, seen it all. Okay. So thank you, Lisa. I mean, like I said, I didn't really know how good you were until this moment, until I saw your presentation. I was really blown away. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tony. And I want to just say one more thing about being vulnerable. I think one of the reasons why people have such a hard time being vulnerable is because they're looking at their crowd that they're speaking in front of, or a group that they're trying to do business with, and they're looking at it in its totality. Whenever I approach anything or I speak, I always think from the perspective of, if I just touch one, that's all I'm responsible for. Touching one. I've done my job.
Absolutely.
So I hope that will release someone from being afraid to be vulnerable.
Absolutely. Sarah, I think you wanted to say something as well.
Well, a couple of things. I'm thinking of the vulnerability piece in particular. Lisa, I don't think you were with us yesterday. I'm not sure if you were. But I'm actually quite grateful for what happened yesterday for me, because I was in a place where I could not pay as good attention as I'm doing right now. Let's just say
Mhm.
that. And I was on my phone and I didn't realize that my video had come on. So all these wonderful people got to see me walking all over the place, and you know, so it made me human, right?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
really, I don't mind it, except for this one part that I'm glad we cleared up, that they didn't get to see the bathroom part. But even that, it's like, okay, now you guys are family, right?
Really?
And so
Pretty much.
Yeah, woohoo! Okay, you recorded it, Tony. Thanks.
No, that wasn't me. That was
Somebody's got a
that
good.
was the new person. I don't.
Oh,
But anyway,
No.
I really appreciate that, Lisa, and I love your energy and what you're talking about. And now I completely forgot my other really, but I'm sure I'll remember it soon. But well done, and yeah, you know, just be yourself, because that's what you're supposed to do.
That's true.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. Anyone else before we move on? Yes, no, maybe? Okay, so I am going to